Hey guys, morning. This is Trend Follower this side, and today we are gonna do our backtesting session. The goal of this video would be to learn from the previous weeks what trades went good, what trades we could have been in, or what trades went bad. At least for me, trades that follow our system, trades that followed our system and we missed, trades that we thought followed our system, but we could have avoided, so that our quality improves in future. So that's the goal, to learn from the previous week. I really believe the learning doesn't ever stop, and it always helps these kind of back testing sessions. It always helps to do them and learn from them so that, our next week the knife is sharp. So that's the goal. I always start by, you can look at the previous videos. Some of the trades were as mentioned, exactly as same as predicted in our planning session. And the reason that happens is because of how many times these trades have happened in the past, how many times we have studied it. They follow the similar pattern. So you can even watch the previous videos. But one of the starting points of the previous videos, and will always be the starting point of any video, would be before even finding the setup, knowing where the volatility can be. And what's the best way to know that is by knowing where the news can be, right? So previous week, these were the news. It was December 8th to 14th uh, week. And the most important news I mentioned in that was also odd pair, Australia dollar pair, sorry, Australian currency pair, because the rate statement. Then the second one was CHF because of, again, rate. When you have rate statements, they will overpower over anything, right? And euro and CHF. So basically, Australian dollar, CAD again had rate statement. Australian dollar, CAD, CHF, euro. These four were the leading ones, right? So when that happens, you just have to uh, focus on those. So that was one thing. The second thing were, we were comparing the the strongest and the weakest currencies. You should always be aware of that, so that you always are in those setups. So that was our next goal, to see, next idea, to see what are the strongest and weakest currencies, right? So in that we mentioned the, according to the weekly chart, the strongest were JPY and the weakest was Australian dollar, which it can include New Zealand dollar also, because they are uh, correlated currencies. So let's say weakest was Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, and strongest was JPY. Keep in mind, Australian dollar, JPY, and New Zealand Australian dollar had rate statement. So when you see this, right, where you can clearly see something is strong, then let's go for it, right? Let's focus on this. The second thing I forgot to mention was also GBP currency was acting strong. So let's look at it again. GBP was strong, Australian dollar was weak. So GBP euro should act strong, Australian dollar New Zealand currency should act weak. Australian dollar and euro had news. Okay, with that background, our first great setup was Australian dollar JPY, because I mentioned in the video the area I'm looking at. Let's convert this also. Let's see this to daily. Is this particular zone? When you look at this zone, you got a clear rejection here, back here. When you're looking at 12-hour chart and you're looking at 12-hour supply, what you're essentially saying is, I will hold the trade for like 1 or 2 days, because your rejection is like 24, two candles, right? If it's a weekly, that's the weekly logic. If it's a daily, that's the daily logic. This is a 12-hour candle, 12-hour supply, which we said matches completely. If you see this, let me convert on the, even if this trade was planned in the previous video, you would, if you remember, you would have seen this. The great part about this trade was this supply was the 12-hour supply, which acted like crazy good. There was a weekly level, so when it reached here in the zone, it really came down. So what you could have done here is, you had three ways to do it. One is the most clear way. where you would have done this way. I'm talking about this move, and you got your 2 RR. Second way of thought process is this long wick here. So it goes down from here. So let me take the trade from this weekly level, sorry, this line, and take three three RR trade. The better one, I believe, is either you go with two from the weekly and get your 2 RR, or you go inside this supply, which was this box here. Where's the pen? So this supply, right, has 4 R here, right? So what you can do is take this, stop loss above, like this, and you got your 4 RR. It depends how safe you wanna play or how risky you wanna play. So I would not say anything about that. I prefer 2 RR. So what I did was I was getting my 2 RR right from here, where my target was this area, this wick, because if you see these area on the left where bounces happen. So what I was assuming was let's not target this, let's target something like this. And I got my 2 RR, right? Uh the way of thought process was if this is the demand where we just went straight up, so we cannot plan for the demand for the price to come below this, so let's tackle this. So we got our 2 RR. This was Euro odd. I didn't take this. I was more focused on GBP odd. And let me tell you why. Let me push this out. Why do you think I focused on GBP odd more? Because we knew GBP has been acting strong. So if we bounce, GBP odd would have a clear bounce. But we also said correlated currencies, Euro and GBP. So that also acted like it, right? The reason this trade was beautiful, and I think this was in the plan. I know GBP odd was definitely in the plan. Is again, this is weekly area. This zone here was a 12-hour zone. So let me go on the left. This area was a 12-hour zone, right? So let me, for instance, just remove all this. So what you have is this was a weekly line, right? Right here. And then look at this. Clear, 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 clear 12-hour, which is inside this. So this is your 12-hour. This line matches with our preferred area. Preferred area of a supply would be from the body. So this would be the preferred area zone, right? So you will take your entry here, stop loss below this, and you got your 4 RR, right? I logged my 2 RR, not in this one again, in GBP odd, but you get the point. This acted like support or zone, trade zone twice, right? So this was a great trade. And again, why did we take it? Odd was damn weak, odd had news. Okay, so let's go to the next one, GBP odd. Again, the same logic. This was more cleaner in my opinion, and I mentioned it in the video. This was as planned as it can be. Uh, the reason was simple, according to me. This here was a daily demand, right? It may bounce from here. Then if you look at this preferred area, it came here. Was there a monthly weekly level? This line is a monthly weekly level. Let me confirm that. You see previous month high. So what do you have here? A zone where trend clear, monthly weekly clear, daily zone clear, right? Underneath it may have 12-hour also. Yeah, so 12-hour here. This at that point the price never came here, right? This was this was the action we bought, right? Now, if I take this here, take the monthly weekly line preferred area, right? And take this, you got your 2 RR. So I took my 2 RR. I could have held till 4 RR, but it's always better to log some gains. And I did that, right? So this was a textbook trade. Why? So our trade should have trend. Trend is clear, right? Our trade should have great demand level. Demand level is clear. It really went through this. Ideally, we should have a weekly, daily, weekly, monthly level that is there. And you got that bounce. So this was a great trade on GBP. Let's go to Euro JPY. The reason I wanted to share this, right, is to show why strong currencies and weak currencies matter. Uh, Last week was a choppy one uh, for these trades, and so I wanted to share this one in particular because how Euro JPY we could have taken this supply. I entered and I exited because I will explain you why when we look at other JPY pairs. But this was a Euro was with GBP, you can act strong, JPY was weak. So what happened? You must have just gotten 1.5 or very luckily 2 RR. Otherwise, most probably this was a difficult trade for downside. And that's why we take weak and strong because here you got your 2.5 RR, maybe 3 RR. But this one was practically very different. In hindsight, it looks like, oh, I wouldn't have gone in or I would have gotten my 2 RR if I would have shorted here, taken a stop loss like this tight and gotten 3 RR. But that's not practically what happens. At that point, you have to be careful where to enter and which currencies to take. And you would rather take the weak versus strong if you want your probability to be higher. So this trade, I wanted to show why it matters. The probability to take only against strong weak because on if you would have taken against strong weak or JPY worked perfectly. This one was a tough one. Look at or JPY. It's still under our area. It still went so down, right? Maybe it would have got it down here also, right? Till here. But look at Euro JPY. It never came in this region, right? It came till here, which is very difficult to get. If you take the whole daily, right? This is what 2 RR, right? But look how close to our exit it is. So your probability, unless you're perfect, you will not get your 2 RR, and that's sad, right? You want your trade to go 2 RR at least easily, so that later on you can target 3 RR. But the reason it didn't, because JPY was weak, but Euro wasn't the strong ones. JPY was weak, but odd one was the more. JPY was strong, very strong last week, but odd one was the weak one. So weak versus strong, that's where the major moves happen. Now, the second thing I will talk about JPY pairs again, I will bring this back is uh, after I complete the NZD and odd pairs, something to really, really remember. With Euro NZD, the green signal was here. I told in the last video in particular that we are breaking from this. So after consolidation, so if it comes back, please treat it as manipulation instead of thinking, oh, it's pulling back and it will come back here, because the probability of that happening is less. The weekly candle was very strong for you to imagine, like at that point, think about it. This candle wasn't formed. So if you are thinking, oh, this whole red candle will be a bearish engulfing, or it can come down here, the chances are really less. So you would rather take high probability ones. So instead of targeting after seeing this huge red move, oh, it can come back like this, you should target it can continue upside. So that is Euro NZD, where what happened was this was our area, it went here, and we got here 2 RR. The reason I didn't take it was again, I just focused on one, which was GBP odd. Similarly, GBP NZD, if you didn't, this was the area I mentioned in the video also, but the problem here was it never entered here. Trust me, I had my order placed, but just left it by a few pips, so I didn't get an entry on this. My primary focus was GBP odd and GBP NZD. Now, the second strongest after GBP or JPY was USD, right? I would say even first strongest, right? Because USD has been strong all these last few weeks. Look at all this week. So, all this down move. So, this is why NZD USD. The great part about this trade, and I didn't focus on this, this is the trade I legit missed. Like it was not even in the planning session. And that upsets me a little bit. But it's fine. We got our 2 hour for the week, 3 hour for the week. We are all set, right? So, but the idea here was this was a daily supply. You got your bearish engulfing here. So this supply is acting like resistance. Now, where is the supply? That matters most. You cannot take supply anywhere, right? It's in a name where the trend is clearly down, right? It's in a name which where the currency is acting like weak. It's happening where? In a bearish engulfing candle. Look at this in a bearish engulfing weekly candle. Look at this weekly candle. So if there is a bearish engulfing weekly candle, the probability of making a bullish is low. It can happen. It can happen. I wouldn't say it cannot. So you have to be really cautious. So that's why you cannot just take this supplied clearly. But when you saw a bearish engulfing daily candle inside a bearish engulfing weekly candle. You just put your stop loss entry here, stop loss here. You got your 2 RR for sure. Now, the second reason why this was something you should have focused on, and I should have focused on, is look, the big move. The up move started with a red candle where this lower wick is long. These lower wicks or upper wicks, long lower acts like liquidity. So it would attract price. Will it go below this? I don't know. It could have gone above also. But I know if we are going down, this is what attracts the price. So what I would have done is I would have considered this as liquidity, this as liquidity. So my start would be somewhere here, somewhere stop loss, but my target would be here. You got your 2.3 if you're sure about the three, right? So again, strong currencies, weak currencies, most important, most important. Okay. So next, I wanted to talk about JPY pairs with chopped or reversed, right? So why, how do you avoid that? Because in our planning video, we clearly said JPY has been acting strong, right? But what happened? Reversal, and you cannot avoid it. But you have to be careful around it. So the reason why I was careful about it is, for example, let's look at Euro JPY, right? So this was our supply. What happened here? What happened with this one? When it entered the supply, right, there was not there was not much of a strong reaction, right? This preferred body, let's think about this one, this here. So when it entered, let me go to 4 hour. Okay, so we are talking about. Let me be sure about this. Where is this? Is it Euro? Okay. I don't see it here. Maybe I have to scroll further left. That's weird. I don't see it here. Let me make this again. Let me remove these just so that we can see the chart cleanly. Here. Yeah, this one. See. So what was interesting to me here was after getting tested, it is holding this region, right? So we are not going down. If you had, so that means it's acting stronger. Now, how would you be careful about it, right? Before it enters here. And that's where my tool comes into picture. I'm not advertising it, but point being, you should focus on these things where when reversal happens pairs can really act strong and weak, and you should know about it. So, what happened basically was we got a signal that JPY now has started acting weak. So let me share that with you guys. So we got that signal on 12/9 that JPY has acted weak with 85% reaction, right? So when that happens, that means JPY, we said it's strong, but it has started acting weak. So let's be safe and look at our trades again. So what happened was when this entered here, so 12/9, so almost on this day, right? On this day, at the end of this day, we got the signal on this candle. So when you got that signal, look how it has formed a bullish, sorry, order block, right? Or demand area. So now, if I want to take this, I can take this, right, as a demand area. Now you formed a demand area with a signal in our tool. So what should you do? Just stay out, basically. Can it go below? Yes. Can it go above? Yes. Don't trade the signals blindly, right? But we got our strength signal, weakness signal. So JPY started acting weak. Let's be safe. Let's get out. That was the idea. Okay. So similarly, USD JPY, we got our signal on this candle here, right? When this happened, what did the next candle do? Broke the supply like a charm, right? So you will not think about short again. But the moment we got our signal, the thought process changed. JPY is no longer acting strong. So then the plan was, okay, let's think about long side. Who will be the biggest bet of long side? Euro JPY had news, GPP was acting strong. We got our order block here, so this would have been a great trade. I didn't take this one because I was thinking more of bearish side. Instead, what I did was I was like, okay, let me just cut my trade. I got entry here and then exited when I got this signal on this day. So I entered and same day I closed. I mean, same as in when the new session opened. But point being, this could have been upside. And when you get these signals plus legit demand supply area, you're good. USD JPY was simple, much more simpler, and the reason is because USD had been acting strong. So this is where supply turns to demand and demand supplies to support, or vice versa. What I mean by vice versa is not vice versa, I should say, or other terminology where resistance to support, support to resistance. Okay. So in this case, look at this. This is a weekly line. Let me delete this. Let's make it again. This here is the weekly line, right? Now, this weekly line on the left had a great supply, this whole box. Okay. So when you have this kind of supply, okay. So when we closed above it, this area would act like support. So you got your entry, you got a stop loss, exit at 2 RR. I wouldn't have thought more about it. But point being, why was this something you would have seen? You should always be aware about all the time. Think about what are the strong currencies, what are the weak currencies. JPY gave us a signal. We broke the supply easily, and that's it, right? The second thing I wanted to share was why this supply, I saw it later, was something I initially thought I shouldn't focus on it. But when it looked so beautiful on daily, I was like, okay. Uh, Whenever you have such small candles, look at this, extremely small. You get such reaction, that means price moved really fast. And this may not even, there may not be many orders here for it to come down again. Instead, this will attract price and maybe break like this or like this, right? So that's why this looked great on daily, like the supply, but internally it was not such a great supply. So anytime you see a supply, that's why you see me when I go to a supply of daily, let's say, I make it a point to be sure that I go into 8 hours or 12 hours or 4 hours to see if there is internally a better supply. So if there isn't, then outside it look great, but internally it's not a quality supply. So you should avoid it. Like in trading, one thing I've learned is anytime you're confused about something, anything you see, oh, maybe this may not work, better stay out. You should rather just focus on extreme quality so that you get that 70-80% win rate. Let's look at gold and silver. This is the reason I shared this in the plan video also. This zone is damn important on silver also. This zone is damn important. The reason I didn't get in is because I always focus on the preferred zone, so this was my area. I do feel when it comes back here, it may still reject. But the reason I could have gone in is because futures are more important. And in futures, especially I think it was silver, where it definitely entered our, look at this, the same supply zone was exactly here. So it entered there. So you could have been like, okay, let me just enter. So, but I wasn't seeing the futures at that time. And I was like, I had my order placed and I was like, huh, maybe I'll get it filled and we are gonna go cruising. And it started going down and never stopped. And I was like, why? What happened? I saw I missed the silver futures chart. And I know futures chart, you should give first priority to that. And I should have looked into it. Uh, but I didn't. Happens, happens. So that was gold and silver. One trade I want to share, which so I got my win on GBP or which was 2 RR and or JPY 2 RR, but I got my -1 RR here, and this was in the plan video also, which I was focusing on this 12-hour supply, and I was like it should go down. One of the rules to be safe is whenever this near the supply you have this kind of choppiness, right? So you should rather avoid it, right? So this had this choppiness. I should have avoided it. The second reason this didn't work was trend. Like if you look at monthly, in ICD terms, we are in this fair value gap. This bounce is happening from a fair value gap. So it may just, blast through. So I should have seen it. But for me, uh, in hindsight, it's easier to say, but I was thinking something like this, and that didn't happen. But as I said, with trading, if anything is doubtful, rather stay out. I should have stood out. I lost my 1 hour here, so that's something I wanted to share. The next is the last EuroCAD. This was the move. I don't know if I shared it in the plan. At least it was in my charts, which was this was a great supply. You came up here, CAD had news, you went down, right? That's easy. I don't want to go further into it because no point repeating myself, right? You have a daily supply. Is there a news? Yes, sir. What about the trend? Let's go to the weekly. We have a clear down move. Yes, sir. What about the supply? Yes, sir. Is the supply covered by a weekly level or a monthly level? Or yeah, so this was the weekly level, right, where fair value gap on ICT terms is there. I would touch base on ICT a little because I've learned every system in the books and I use principles from everywhere, but I have my own layer on top of it. But the point which you have to see is fair value gap is basically between previous candles low to next candle's high. So this was the fair value gap. Out of all these candles, there's no fair value gap anywhere except here, right? So this is a very important fair value gap. And what happened here? It tested this, went down, you got your 2 RR, right? So this was the trade again. So if you see all the trades which really, 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 really worked, let's go back. Or JPY, trend down, weekly level, daily supply, strong weak currencies. Euro or GPB or trend, weekly level, daily supply, right? Strong weak currencies. Euro, NZD, GBP, NZD, trade, same, right? So if you see the beautiful trades, the easy ones, NZD, USD, the easy ones, trend is damn clear, no doubt about it. Supply is damn clear, no doubt about it, right? Uh, and yeah, so trend and supply and strong weak currencies, right? I'm not taking, let's say, what would be a good example? Let's say, let me think about it. So last week, actually JPY had its reversal, but let's talk about odd and ready first of all, right? So they both were acting weak, so choppiness. But I'm just thinking, what can be a good good oh yeah. So let's talk about GBP JPY, right? So GBP JPY. You were thinking JPY acting strong, and GBP was acting strong. This was the supply, right? So Let's forget about this. This could have been a good supply here, right? Right here. So what happened? It got tested, pulled back, broke through it. So when you have to consider strong weak currencies if you want high probability trades. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you learned something. I will keep doing this back testing session. It keeps me in check. It keeps you guys in check. It keeps my knife sharp. And that's what my focus is. And in this process, I should say, we all will learn something. And I think we are, right? So you are clearly seeing what high quality trades look like. You will clearly see in my planning also, where I will say which are the high quality trades, and they will follow the same principles. We are just repeating the same system over and over, and that's the goal. Let's get better with trading. Let's get be the best with trading, right? So this backtesting session, I have a playlist. You can always watch the previous ones. As time goes, they will get better. I've just started this channel. I've just started posting these videos. I will improve with time, but for any improvement, we need feedback. And it would be great if you like, comment, share this video. If there is any feedback, please comment, and I will definitely listen to any comments and try to improve from here. And yeah, that's it for today. Hope you learned something. I learned a lot. On to the next one. See you guys.